Struggling to understand narcissistic behavior? Explore our narcissism playlist on the Lost Tapes podcast. From gaslighting to boundary setting, identify manipulation tactics, heal and reclaim your life.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about something that I think is super valuable, and that is how to spot narcissistic tendencies early on in a relationship.
Yeah,
Because I think we've all been there
absolutely.
where maybe we got a little too deep
Right,
before we saw the signs.
right.
So this is kind of preventative maintenance for your emotional well-being.
I love that preventative maintenance.
Yes. So I did some research for this deep dive.
Okay.
And I found some pretty interesting stuff that I think will be really helpful for all of us.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
What's really interesting about narcissism is that it's not always like super obvious,
Right.
like right away.
It's not like they're twirling their mustache.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like a caricature. And especially in the beginning of a relationship,
Yeah,
it can really be masked.
absolutely.
Something like charm.
It's very seductive. And
Right.
charisma.
Yes, exactly. So how can we spot those early signs? What are those things that maybe aren't like giant red flags, but that could be an indication that there's a pattern?
Okay, well, one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that narcissists are operating from a very deep-seated sense of insecurity. So in the beginning, they might try to overcompensate for that by like constantly steering the conversation back to themselves or, name dropping to try to impress you.
Oh, so it's not even just being boastful. It's like a deeper,
It's a much deeper psychological issue.
Yeah.
And so, because of that insecurity, they also crave constant admiration.
Okay.
So they're always fishing for compliments. If they feel overlooked, they're going to sulk. They're going to, kind of pout.
Got it.
It's like they need a constant supply of attention to fuel their sense of self-worth.
So big ego and a hunger for compliments.
Yes.
Okay, so what else should we be looking out for?
Another subtle yet telling sign is their lack of empathy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, you might notice that they have difficulty understanding or even acknowledging your feelings.
Okay.
And it's almost like they're so preoccupied with their own world that they can't really tune into yours.
Yeah, they're kind of like emotionally colorblind.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so we've got Castle, loves the sound of their own voice,
Yes.
needs constant validation, and can't really understand what other people are feeling.
Yeah, right.
I bet those things can escalate into some pretty serious red flags
They do.
as the relationship goes on.
Absolutely.
So what are some of those red flags?
Well, one of the most common and dangerous ones is the classic love bombing,
Oh,
followed by devaluation.
okay.
So it's a textbook narcissistic manipulation tactic.
I've heard of this.
They're going to shower you with excessive affection and attention early on to make you feel like you've met your soulmate.
Okay.
But once they feel like they've got you, the mask starts to slip and the criticism begins.
Oh, so sneaky. It's like a game that you don't even know you're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another red flag is gaslighting.
Oh, yeah. Which is a more insidious form of manipulation. It involves distorting or denying reality to make you question your own sanity and memory.
Oh, gosh.
For example, they might deny saying something hurtful or accuse you of being too sensitive.
Right.
And over time, this can erode your self-confidence and make you dependent on them for validation.
So they're basically trying to rewrite the script of what's actually happening to
Exactly.
fit their own narrative.
Yes,
That's messed up.
it is.
Okay, what else should we be on the lookout for?
Keep an eye out for isolation tactics.
Okay.
They might subtly discourage you from spending time with your friends and family, creating a situation where they have more control over you.
So they can kind of control the narrative.
Exactly. And this isolation makes it harder for you to get outside perspectives and easier for them to manipulate you.
This is all so creepy how this is. All about control and manipulation.
Right.
It's like they're trying to create their own little puppet state.
Where they're the ruler. But how do they get away with this? I mean,
Yeah.
don't people see through this?
Well, that's the thing about narcissists. They can be incredibly charming.
Uh-oh.
At least initially. They often mirror your interests and opinions to make you feel incredibly understood. They might even play the victim to gain your sympathy.
Wow.
This charm offensive is all part of their strategy to disarm you and make you more susceptible to manipulation.
I never even thought about it that way before.
Right.
It's amazing how this stuff can fly under the radar. So knowing how they use charm as like a weapon, what can we do to protect ourselves? from falling for it.
You're right, it can be really tough. But one of the most important things is to set firm boundaries from the very beginning.
Boundaries, yeah.
And don't be afraid to say no. And enforce those boundaries even when they push back.
Yeah, your boundaries are like the fence around your emotional garden.
I love that.
You get to decide who comes in and how they behave.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And just as importantly, learn to recognize and challenge their manipulation attempts. So if they try to gaslight you, stand firm in your reality. Keep a journal. Talk to trusted friends, document things so you can remind yourself of what actually happened.
I like that. Having that documentation.
And most importantly, seek support from trusted friends, family, or a therapist.
Yes.
They can offer an objective perspective and help you stay grounded if you start doubting yourself.
And don't forget, self-care is so important in this situation.
Absolutely. Prioritizing your mental health.
Yeah, speaking of cautionary tales, one of the sources that we looked at for this deep dive was really eye-opening. This person ignored a lot of these red flags and ended up in a really difficult situation.
Yeah, and what was particularly striking about that story was how the individual kept explaining away the narcissist's behavior.
Oh, interesting.
Making excuses for it and minimizing their own feelings.
That's so common, though.
It is.
When you're especially when you're like in the throes of new love.
Yeah, you get caught up in that whirlwind.
Yes.
And your own logic gets hijacked by those powerful emotions.
It really does. It's amazing.
And that's why it's so important to be aware of these patterns and not fall into the trap of rationalizing harmful behavior.
You're so right.
Remember, recognizing these signs isn't about judging someone. It's about protecting yourself.
That is such a good point. So as you guys move through your lives and your relationships, think about these signs, these red flags. Are there any patterns that maybe you've overlooked? And how can you protect yourselves?
Building healthy, fulfilling relationships starts with awareness and a commitment to protecting your own emotional well-being.
Knowledge is power, my friends. Stay informed, stay aware, and most importantly, take care of yourselves. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Bye.
Dive into the shadows of human nature with the Lost Tapes podcast, where the truths hidden beneath our daily lives are brought to light. We uncover the layers of complex relationships, hidden emotions, and raw realities, from mental health to life's hardest truths. No topic is off limits, no story too raw. The Lost Tapes podcast is your invitation to understand the unspoken facets of life. Join us and let's explore life's hidden sides, one story at a time. Don't miss out on more hidden truths. Subscribe now to the Lost Tapes podcast. Stay curious. Stay informed. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to never miss an episode.